Hi, I'm Captain Kevin Murray from the Bedford Fire Department, and welcome to Captain's Corner. Today's show is all about fire prevention, fire safety. We're here at the Bedford Safety Complex, and we're having our annual safety open house. My first guest is Chief Scott Wiggin. He's driving the Sanford here. Chief, I want to thank you again. Looks like you got your old job back again, and you're right in the best spot that you should be. Thanks for coming out.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Now, I realize that this is our 15th year putting on this open house. How do you think the public perceives this as a event for them and the children that come to this event?
I believe it's very well received. We have guests year after year that say we were here the previous year and it's a wonderful thing. And we probably have exposure to 400 to 500 people during the event. A lot of vendors come out here, but the intent is to make public safety awareness, and that it's not just 1 week or 1 day, but it's an annual event. Public safety and fire safety should be adhered to all the time.
Okay, now for the rest of our show, we're going to go walk around, talk to some of the residents, some of the kids. We're also going to talk to some of the vendors that have come out today for public education. What's the most important thing that the public could learn from an open house like this?
Well, in-home safety first, your smoke detectors, fire extinguishers, having an escape plan, and also making sure your electrical appliances and your heating appliances are serviced regularly and maintained annually.
Okay, later on we'll talk to some of the other vendors that have provided food for us. They've donated. Papa Gino's has donated again 75 pizzas. Did they give you any pizzas before you jumped on the truck?
I got one, thank you.
Okay, if you get a little bit hungry, just let us know and we'll get you back out there again. All right, so we'll talk to you a little bit later, Chief, and thanks again.
Very good, thank you.
All right, well, we're out here in the fire apparatus ride area, and we want to talk to some of the people that took the time to come and visit us today at our open house. Can you tell me who you are and this is your first time you've been here?
Yes, it's the first time we've been down to the Fire Safety Complex. My name's Steve Pemberton, and this is my son, Matthew Pemberton.
Hi, Matt.
Hi, Matthew.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Well, if you don't know, this is our 15th year conducting our open house at the Bedford Safety Complex. We love having the public coming out to see exactly what your fire department can do for you. Inside, if you haven't noticed, there's some pizza and some vendors. And have you ever had to use the Bedford Fire Department services at all?
Well, just once. My daughter had an accident at home, and they came with the ambulance and transported her to the Elliott. She was okay. It was a minor fall down the stairs, but everything worked out okay.
Great. We're glad that turned out well. Now, how did you hear about the event?
We were at the Bedford Old Town Day, and we saw the ladder truck over there, and we got a tour of the ladder truck, and the firefighters invited us to come on down today. So we kept put it on our schedule, and that's why we're here.
Well, great. How do you like the fire department? Have you ever been on a fire truck ride before?
No.
No. Which truck do you like? Do you like the ladder truck or the older truck?
I like that one.
Oh, that's the ladder one? All right, we're going to take you right through there. All right, well, don't forget to get inside, talk to some of the vendors, because the vendors that we have here are for education, discussing with the public how to use your furnace properly. We have some insurance companies that will talk to you about what to do before a fire, what happens the day of the fire, and how to get you back in your house safely. Okay. Inside, there's 911 and some Lions Club, so please visit and stay around for a little bit.
Thank you, Captain Murray, and thank you again for everything you do.
Thanks again for coming out. All right, we're here with Cameron at our Bedford Fire Department open house. Cameron, thanks for coming to the open house.
You're welcome.
Is this the first time you've ever come out here?
Actually, I've been here 2 years.
Really? You know what I'd like to do today at the open house? I'd like you to go talk to some of the little kids that came to the open house and find out what they think of this. Can you do that for me?
I think I can do that.
All right, let's go see if we can find someone that will talk into the camera and give us a good interview, all right?
You got it, Captain.
Right.
Hi, my name is Cameron Bernard, as you saw with the captain. We are here. These people just got off the fire truck, and we want to see how they were doing. So let's give it to them. What's your name?
My name is Avery, and there was lots of cool stuff, lots of equipment, and it was really cool seeing what they could do.
Hi, I'm Avery's mom, Cindy Hudson.
Hi, I'm Avery's little sister, Riley.
What did you think of the fire truck?
I really liked it, hearing the sirens, and it was really fun to ride in it.
You guys think you're going to have a good time tonight?
Yes.
Yes, we're excited. This is our first time here.
Yep. And we're good.
We're here inside the fire station. We're going to start talking to some of the people that came here to educate the public, and we're right here with Wanda from Enhanced 911. Thank you for coming, Wanda.
Thank you.
Now, how long have you been coming to the fire department open house?
It has been a lot of years that we from the beginning, I think, that we've been coming to this event. It's a great event.
I know it is, because you were the first one to say yes, and love when you come here because the kids get all kinds of giveaways. So let's talk about what 911 is. Can you educate the public and tell us what it's really all about?
Sure. In the most simplest of terms, 911 is an emergency number. It's going to be the number that you call if you need help in a hurry. That's the most basic definition that we have gotten from an elementary school kid, was when you need help in a hurry. In New Hampshire, we have an enhanced system, meaning that when you dial 911, we see your name, your street address, and your dispatch centers on our screens in the 911 center.
Now, what happens if I have a cell phone, and you said if somebody calls on a telephone line, a dial-up line, I guess you could call it, what happens if I'm on my cell phone and I need help?
If you dial 911 on a landline, a wired phone, we're going to show your name and address we use a software called Alley Tracker, and it puts you on a map. If you're calling on a cell phone, it's going to pick up the information from the tower that's nearest to you, and it's also going to put you on a map.
And how close can you get to the person that needs help with that tower?
If the cell company is sending us phase 2 information, you could get as close as sub-meter.
Okay. One other question that I do have, some people in town only remember like a general fire department number, like 472, whatever the number is, and they may think that it's quicker to call just a regular business line when they need help. What's the advantage of calling 911 instead of just a regular business, police, or fire line?
If you dial the 7-digit, we call it a non-emergency number, they're not going to know who you are or where you're calling from, so you're going to have to start from scratch. If you are an emergency and you're unable to speak for whatever reason, your name and your information is going to show up on our screen in Concord. The time that it takes to dial a 7-digit number and the time that it takes to dial 3 digits is a lot quicker, and it works the same way as if you dial the 7-digit number.
So it sounds like to me 911, even though it's been around a long time, it is the way to go to get help the quickest way. And that's not just for police. It could be police, fire, EMS, or any type of emergency. I know you're 911. Is there any other number that people can call for information?
If for general information, the business line at our office is 603-271-6911. I go out and I do presentations, talk about 911, give information about the enhancements to the system and what all it entails. I'd be happy to come out and visit.
Okay, one last question. We know that there are some of the general public here in town that need special assistance in their house. They may not be able to get to the phone or the door. Can you talk a little bit about the program that they can notify us and we send a report up to you that if they do need help and they can call 911, we'll know what their emergency is?
Sure. We have a database that we maintain at 911. We call it Supplemental Alley. And what that means is it allows people to put in pertinent medical conditions about their location. So it's tied to the customer by telephone number. They fill out a form. It's available on our website. They fill out the form, we enter it into the database. Once it's entered into the database, if they dial 911 in the future, information pops up to us on our screen, so we at least have some idea of what may be going on if it's a medical condition at that location.
Yes, and I know that that type of service we have used in the past before, and it works great. So if you do have special circumstances in your house in the town of Bedford or anywhere in the state of New Hampshire, you can call the 911 business line, or you can go to their website, and maybe at the end of our program here we can put some special websites out. So thank you, Wanda. Have you had any pizza yet?
Not yet. It's been busy.
All right, I'll cover your table, but I can't guarantee all the pencils and pens will be here by the time you come back. Thank you again.
Thank you.
My buddy Cameron back here, he was listening to me talking to Wanda, and I think he's got some pretty good information for some of the kids his age. So, Cameron, what do you think 911 is all about, and how could you explain it to the rest of your classmates?
I would think 911 is for emergencies only. Don't call 911 if it's your mom just getting, or parents are just getting mad at you. I would say 911 is for, like, someone is robbing your house, there is a fire, or you are in danger.
Well, that's a pretty good way to explain it. Have you ever had to call 911 before?
I have never had to call 911 before. I only had to call my dad for something small.
All right, well, that's a good idea. You know something, if people forget 911, we have some stickers here in the booth that you can put on each one of your phones, so maybe you can help us give some of those out later. How's that?
That's a deal.
Okay, I'm here with Walter Witzel from the Bedford Lions Club. Walter, I want to thank you for coming out to our open house again. I know you've been here from the start and really appreciate the Lions Club coming out here to educate the public.
Well, it's been nice. We enjoy coming in, and gives us the opportunity to let people know we're in town. The last 5 or 6 years we've had these books that we sell to raise funds for our charity fund. And prior to that, we were always here with information about the Lions Club and about things that we do.
Great. In the past, I know you've done the IDs for the kids, for their fingerprinting.
The ID theft and picture program. We've donated to the fire department the thermal imaging machine. They have the first one. And over the years, we've supported the Firemen's Association in many different ways, as well as the police department.
Well, we appreciate that. Now, today, what's your educational theme here for coming to the fire department open house?
The basic objective of the Lions Clubs is sight and hearing programs. And at one time, back in the old days, we used to run the lazy eye clinics for the kindergartens, or actually there were no kindergartens then, but the preschools. And we've always kind of worked with children however we can. Right now, we're also offering these coloring books, which when I saw them, I went wild over them because they're more than just a coloring book. Actually, if you open the pages, they tell you and explain to you what's on each page. So as well as the child coloring the item, they can read the words, or they can read about the subject, and maybe through an osmosis type of system, they will absorb some of the education is on these pages.
Okay, well, it's obviously, I'm going to get out of your way here. You've got a very popular booth, and we want to thank you for serving the town of Bedford.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
Once again, we're here with my buddy Cameron, and we're at one of the fire department booths here that talks about the December 2008 ice storm. How many of you remember that? I do, because I was actually out of power for 8 days, and I'm still on the fire department, so I was without power for a long time. Cameron, do you remember that ice storm?
Yes, I do.
What was it like being in your house? Did you stay in your house?
Yes, we did.
And how did you do that? How were you able to stay in your house for that? How long were you without power?
We were out of power for about a week and a half, and it was just terrible. We had a fireplace on at all times. We had no food. We would have to go out.
Now, in order for you to stay in your house, you must have been prepared before the storm, and that's pretty much what we want to educate the public about is you need to have supplies ready for at least 2 or 3 days, because you might not get your power back for 2 or 3 days. If you can imagine those first 2 or 3 days when you were without power, what do you think the most important thing that you could have had during that storm when it was out of power?
I think the most important things that we could have had was the heat and the food.
Okay, and that can happen if you think about how to get prepared, and you can find people that will show you how to hook up a generator the right way, and you have an emergency supply in your basement or somewhere in your house that you can take care of yourself for 2 or 3 days. If you look behind you, we have all kinds of pamphlets, emergency supplies kits. Every business should have a plan. So these things are available for the general public to come to the fire station, and we can teach the general public what to do in case we have one of these storms again. If this would happen tomorrow, do you think you're ready and prepared again?
I don't think so. Our generator broke, and so we would have to use our fireplace.
Okay, well, I thank you for being very honest, but after today, when your mom and dad comes over here, we're going to show them some of the things that they can do, because winter's coming again. And we all know what happens when ice builds up and the snow comes. Just like this gentleman in the picture here, the power lines are down. So we're here to educate the public about being prepared before the storm, not the day of the storm or when it's too late and you're looking for heat or electricity in your house. So that's what this booth is all about, okay?
You got it.
I'm here with Gary Paraso from the Bedford Health Department. Not a lot of people know that the Health Department comes under the tutelage of Chief Scott Wiggin in the Fire Department. Gary, how long you been with the Bedford Health Department?
I've been at the Health Department for 5 years now.
And when the public calls up and has a question about a restaurant or a school or some place that's preparing food, how do you step into that process?
Well, Bedford's one of the 16 self-inspecting towns in the state of New Hampshire where we license and inspect all local food service establishments. If anyone has a complaint regarding a restaurant, they call the health department number, which is 472-3838. And our process is we conduct semi-annual inspections and follow-ups for any non-compliant items. Currently, there's 98 establishments licensed in Bedford, inspected twice a year. With quite a bit of follow-ups, and we have a comprehensive program. We provide education to the food service workers where in order for them to renew their food service license, they have to attend education seminar annually.
All right, so let's just take a random restaurant in Bedford. We won't use any names. Obviously, you have that privileged information about some of the good ones and some of the bad. But when you go out to do did you say a semi-annual inspection?
Yes.
All right, when you go out and do an inspection, what are the things that you're looking for in this inspection?
Our inspection check sheet is based on the state of New Hampshire rules where the town of Bedford has an MOU with the Department of Health and Human Services Food Protection Bureau. And our check sheet is based on 44 items. Some of the items, the sections are 32 sections. We have food protection, which we look for is temperatures, hot holding and cold holding. We check refrigeration. Refrigeration should be based on 38 to 39 because your food, cold food's got to be held below 41 and hot food's got to be held above 140.
Okay, if you were to say one or two things that you find in mostly every restaurant that just keep occurring, and that's the area that you want to work, these restaurants to work in. What are some of the areas that you look for in most of the restaurants?
The biggest issue that what I look at is human behavior, because your facility refrigerator is your refrigerator. What I look for is make sure that employees have hair restraints and make sure that they do not touch the food with their bare hands. And if any of the residents go to a restaurant and notice that the cooks are not wearing their hair restraints or are touching your food with their bare hands, tell them to return the food. And if they give you a hard time, call the health department.
Okay, so you become pretty popular when you're out in the public and people recognize you and they ask you, what's the best restaurant to eat? I know you won't divulge that information.
In Bedford, all the restaurants are very good. We have a good working relationship. I'm sure if you ask any of the managers, we follow the rules and they know what's expected of them.
Well, that's good to know. I don't think a lot of people knew that there was an actual inspector that was out there that many times a year. So I want to thank you for putting out this public information here. We talked a few minutes ago to Cameron about this emergency kit, this preparedness kit. When Bedford lost most of its power here for up to 7 to 8 days and 2 weeks, what was your biggest concern as a health officer when we were going through that crisis?
What we did is we looked at the inspection, the establishments that have lost power. First of all, make sure they were closed, because if they don't have power or hot water, they cannot be open. So we conducted drive-by inspections, make sure the establishments were closed, and the one that were open, we made sure that they were fully operational. That was the biggest concern at that time for them.
Okay. Now, if somebody wants to learn little bit about what you do and what the town does, they can go on the Town of Bedford website?
Yes, they can go to the health link, and our inspection process is there. And there's some food links to help you as far as from the FDA and the USDA as far as safe food. We have pamphlets here for safe handling of takeout foods and how to keep your food safe.
Well, I thank you for that, because as anybody's ever known, if they've gotten sick after eating at an establishment, it's not a happy thing. But one quick question. Let's just say I go eat at a restaurant here in town. how long will I know if if there's a problem at that restaurant and I can relate it back to food poisoning?
Typically, depending on if you are having systems between 6 to 12 hours, it could be related to the restaurant, but it could be what you ate during the day. In our interview process, if someone calls and has a food service complaint, we take a history down of what they had if they went out to dinner, say at a restaurant in Bedford, what they ate at the place that they went to, what they had for lunch, what they had for breakfast, and try to remember what they had 24 hours earlier. And what we do is we track this information, and this information is forwarded to the state in case a lot of people are having complaints. A foodborne illness outbreak is considered if 2 or more people get sick eating at the same establishment, eating the same food.
Okay, well, that's a lot of great information, and I could talk to you for hours about the health department. I appreciate what you're doing, and thanks for coming out tonight.
Thanks, Captain.
Cam here again. I'm here with 2 little guys that are about to go into the fire building from Safety and Home to try to get out. I'm going to see how what they think the estimate is about for this home. What do you think it is like, Theo?
Well, I think it's most likely going to be about how you can walk in a fire and how to get out of a fire as fast as you can.
That's a good estimate. What about you, Toby?
I think this house is going to teach us how to get out of a fire if we're in a fire.
All right, we're going to interview when you get out, so, all right, have a good time, all right? All right, we're back with Theo and Toby. As you see, they just went through the firehouse as we met with them before. We are going to see how they liked it. So, Theo, how do you think you liked it, and what do you think it's about?
Well, I think it's good because it teaches kids how it's good to learn what to do, so if there is ever a real emergency, the kids know. And I also learned that you should always use the back of your hand, because if you use the front, it can burn your hand. Then when you're crawling on your hands and knees, it is gonna hurt. But if you use the back of your hand, it's more sensible, so you can feel it better. And I also learned that I think it's a very good idea to teach kids this, because you learn now that how if there was a real fire and you need to go now, and if you needed to go, then you know what to do. And I just think it's a really good idea to teach kids.
Thank you. What do you think, Toby?
I think it was a good idea to learn about how to get out of a fire, because if there ever was a real fire in my house, I would not want to be I wouldn't want to be in the fire. I would want to be out of the fire. So it was a good idea to let me learn how to get out of a fire so that I don't have to be in the fire.
Well, there you have it.
I'm here with Dan from the American Red Cross, the Manchester chapter. Dan, first of all, I want to thank you for coming to our open house again this year.
Great, I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Can you tell us briefly, basically, what the American Red Cross is all about and what you're trying to educate the public by coming out to a session like this?
Sure. The American Red Cross is a humanitarian organization, and it's basically led by volunteers. And basically where you see us is if there is a disaster, whether it be fire, tornado, floods, we respond to that. And we're on 24/7, so it's you'll see us if there's a fire. We're there to support the firemen, the policemen, and the families that are affected as well.
Well, great. Behind us we have the, I think it's called the ERV, the Emergency Response Vehicle.
Yes, it is.
Looks pretty new. What does this do for you?
Basically, we use this when we go out to the different scenes to feed people from drinks, hot coffee, or whatever. So this is not an ambulance, it's just a response vehicle.
Okay, and how are you notified of emergency?
Basically, we have a dispatcher who is tied in with the fire department and the police department, and they will call her, and then she will disperse, to the different members who needs to go.
All right, well, I know you've come to some of our emergency scenes here in Bedford and in Manchester, and I want to thank you for the work that you do. I know it's not on the brightest day, it's when an emergency happens, so thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. You're welcome.
I'm here with firefighter Corey Fecto from the Bedford Fire Department. Corey, first of all, I want to thank you for manning our informational booth here.
Happy to do it, Cap.
Can you spend a couple minutes and talk a little bit about why you have a mailbox here and a number, and then also some of the displays here, what we're trying to educate the public all about?
Okay, sure. What we're doing here is it's a Help Us, Help You project. What we're trying to do is be able to better locate houses in Bedford in case of an emergency. And through a grant from Hannaford, we're able to purchase some numbers and offer this program to the public for free.
Okay, so this mailbox here with the 911 on it, obviously we don't want that on their mailbox. A lot of people don't understand that there is an actual town ordinance that says you need to post a 4-inch number on your mailbox or your house, and that's, you know, we have enough rules and regulations in the world, but this is one of the ones that I support, because in the middle of the night when the fire trucks or the ambulance are coming to your house, we need to find you.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of people don't realize, and most of the people are in compliance. They'll put their numbers on their house, but where the house sits further back from the road, very difficult to see at night and to locate the house in case of that actual emergency.
So what do you have to offer the public in regards to the number system?
All they have to do is come on down to the Bedford Fire Department and see me down here on my regular shift, and I'll be happy to give them a form to fill out, and that'll give us permission to go up and do the whole job for free.
Okay, in the meantime, if they want to take care of this on their own before they see you, we would highly recommend that you just get a contrasting number on your mailbox. And some of the streets that we respond from our one station here in the town of Bedford, we could come 2 different roads or 2 different ways. So it's a good idea to put the number on one side of the box and the other, and make sure it's a contrasting number. In this mailbox, you see it's black. If you can imagine, I've gone by many houses in the middle of the night simply because we can't see the number. So I think this project is great. What about the rest of the items here? I see you have some smoke detectors, fire extinguishers. What are you trying to get the public to learn about that?
Sure, let me show you a couple things that we have over here on the table. We've got a couple different size extinguishers. We want to educate the public that there are different sizes and different types. Bigger is better. Get anything in your house, anything that's good for a fire extinguisher. ABC is great to keep around. BC is great in the kitchen. Anytime, just stop by your local hardware store and check out what they got. Have something, have it by your exit in your house, have it by your furnace in your house. Make sure you have one in the kitchen in your house as well. Okay, what we're trying to explain here is there are 3 types of smoke detectors. We have a regular smoke detector with a battery operated right here. If you don't have hardwired smoke detectors in your house right now, you should have at least a minimum of a smoke detector on every floor in your house. Another type of smoke detector, which is the proper way, is to have smoke detectors that are hardwired, we call. They're 110 volts, and they're interconnected, and they sound at the same time. So if there's a smoke condition in the basement, the smoke detector on the 3rd floor goes off at the same time. You'd have to call a qualified electrician, a licensed electrician, to install those. But we also have a carbon monoxide detector. We've heard all the horror stories right here in New Hampshire of families that don't even wake up in the middle of the night because they found out that there was carbon monoxide right in their own house, and they didn't have a detector to do that. And there are many types to buy, and sometimes it's confusing. So if you're not sure what type of detector to buy, you'll be glad to just call the fire department and we'll educate you. Now, all of these items on this table here, the smoke detectors, the fire extinguishers, have been donated by our local Walmart. They're a great partner for us, and it's relatively inexpensive to buy a smoke detector, get some type of early warning and early detection. I understand we have a raffle here. What are we raffling off? Yes, sir, Cap. We've got a kitchen extinguisher, is what is also known as the BC type. You want to look for that. Usually your kitchen extinguishers, if you go to your local hardware store, they're designated in white, so that's pretty easy to figure out. Also, this here, we have a talking smoke detector, combination carbon monoxide alarm. So yes, you can get one item out there that'll do both jobs. These here are available from any local hardware store as well.
All right, Corey. Well, thank you for educating the public in regards. What are some of the questions that the public ask you when they come to your table?
Oh, they were just, a lot of it is wondering, they had no idea that they should have numbers on their mailbox. They just never realized that. They go to their house, they know where it is. But in case of an emergency, there's other people out there that they just weren't aware of the importance of having it.
Okay, well, thank you for your time here, and we appreciate what you're doing for the town of Bedford. Hi, I'm here with Russ Marcoux, the town manager for Bedford, obviously. Russ, I want to thank you for coming out. I think this is your 4th visit.
Yes, it is.
Every year that you come here, we talk after and we try to improve things. What do you think the public gets out of a open house like this?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for the public to know exactly what our fire department, rescue department does on an everyday basis. You know, so many times people think about it, it's just about putting out fires, and it really isn't. You know, it's emergency services, it's a whole myriad of things, and I'm very proud of our department and the people that work for it. They're very dedicated. We hear a lot of very good things about not only the fire rescue, but ambulance service and training, which is really important. And I think that's what you see here, is people's ability to find out exactly what gets done. So I think that's important.
That's some great information for the general public. I know there is a website that the general public can go to, the Town of Bedford website, and find out all the services that the fire department does perform?
Yes, actually, I'm glad you mentioned it. We have a nice new website. It's in our first year of completion. It's www.bedfordnh.org. Very easy to get through, and they can go right to the fire department, click on fire department, and all the services are listed, and as well as all the information. It's a very interactive page and provides a lot of everyday information for everybody.
Well, great. At the end of this show, hopefully we're going to put some of those special websites that the people have mentioned. Now, you being down at the town office, you're there, you spend a lot of time there, but you're out in the public visiting them at different events. What are some of the good things that you hear from the general public about their fire department?
Well, I think, as I said earlier, you very seldom ever hear of people complaining, because that's the time they need you. You know, it's easy for people to make rash judgments, but I don't really hear a lot of that. I don't hear that about any of our public safety departments or our employees in general. I think people are very satisfied with the level of service that they get, the professionalism of all our employees, and the way we go about our business. And I think that's a credit to all of the people that work for the town. And as I said, I'm very proud of our fire department and the people that work here and what they do. And that's really what you hear.
Well, I appreciate that, and just the fact that you've come out to every one of our events. And sometimes there are unfortunate events where we're out helping the public, and Russ is there to support us for those events. And we want to thank the public for just supporting us again. And if you have any type of a question, or you're not sure about any public safety information or fire prevention information, stop by, go to the website, give us a call. There's always somebody here to help you.
And also, you know, if somebody is out there that has not come yet, if they still have time, it's what, till 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock. Yeah.
And if it's not this year, next year. You'll also see there's various other services that are provided in town that are here: insurance, Pure Clean, other types of heating and oil, heating companies. I see the Lions Club is out here. So there's a variety of other things to keep people interested. Plus the kids can get a ride on an old fire truck as well as the regular fire truck, and they get to inspect a lot of the things that you folks do, which I think is good for kids.
Well, that's what we try to do, to cram into 3 hours worth of public education. And all of the vendors here are here because we asked them specifically to come and educate the public. So it's not an advertisement type of thing.
Right, exactly.
It's what do you have to offer to the public. And as you'll see in this show, it's amazing what they offer right here in Bedford.
Right, exactly right. And you're right, it's all connected. It's nothing other than being connected to what you're doing. So,
okay.
Good job again.
Well, great. Did you get any pizza yet?
No, I haven't. No.
All right, you better get
popcorn that I'm waiting for.
Popcorn. All right. I think that was made from one of the firefighters, and I asked him to lay off on the salt a little bit because we're both trying to be heart healthy. Thanks for coming.
You're very welcome. Thanks for asking me.
All right, we're here with Katie, and Katie, tell us who do you know that's really special here?
Well, it's mostly my dad because he's the deputy chief, and it's just sometimes when I come here, it's really special.
How many years have you been coming to this?
Well, I really don't know because I've been coming here ever since I was a little kid, so I'll almost say about 10 years.
Do you like the things that happen around here with the fire drivers driving, the police, and the opening house?
Yes, the open house is my most favorite part about it because there's so many things like the hospital corps and the fire trucks. It's mostly everything.
All right, there you have it. Thank you.
Okay, we're here with LeBlanc Heating. I'm here with Robert and Joy. Thank you. I understand this is your second year coming here.
Right, yeah, it's our second year. We've been helping the fire department promote their open house, and it's always a fun event.
Okay, well, thanks for coming. Thank you, Joy.
You're welcome.
Okay, really quickly, what type of education are you trying to get out to the public here with this prop?
Well, for the children, it's a good prop because obviously fire attracts attention. For the homeowners and for the family members, we want to promote safety with their heating appliances. Everyone needs to have, especially oil burners, serviced annually, whether it be oil or gas. And this is a very dramatic demonstration of, obviously, the flame that most people have in their home. And it certainly requires a certain amount of attention, and we promote annual service, obviously. Not necessarily with LeBlanc Heating, but whoever their service company or fuel provider.
Well, we appreciate that. What's the one or two things that you can tell the general public to be aware of with their home heating devices?
Well, any home appliance has to have certain clearances for combustibles. A flame is prominent as that. You don't want to store paint or any combustible materials. Some of the basements we go in, they have mattresses and furniture and all sorts of stuff around their appliances. And obviously that's not a good thing. That's kind of no-brainer stuff, but there's many things that we find in basements, same as firemen find, which are obviously not good safety issues and definitely a cause for concern.
Okay.
The appliance running should be running in optimal efficiencies and obviously in a safe manner. There's a lot of times we go into homes and we find major problems with either cracked heat exchangers or other certain major safety violations with the equipment.
Okay. All right. And Joy, you're located right here in Bedford, and the general public can just call you up and ask to have their heating appliances serviced?
Yes, any customer that's in Bedford or any surrounding area in the Bedford area, whether you're a customer of ours or someone else, we certainly can, handle all furnaces and air conditioners or burners or boilers, gas and oil. Yeah, we do highly recommend for maintenance to be done every year.
Okay, well, thank you for coming to our show, and I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, Kevin.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're here with Kendall from Santo Insurance. This is their first year coming to our open house. Kendall, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to come out to educate the public. You have a vast array of books and pamphlets here, and it looks like your booth has been pretty busy. What are you trying to educate the public about here at the open house?
Well, the first thing is fire prevention, of course, protection of everybody's assets with home insurance. With the holiday seasons coming up, we have brochures for fire safety for all the Christmas decorations. Wood stoves, everybody's going to be starting up their wood stoves, so to get them cleaned up and proper distances and all from walls. Inventory, that's one thing that a lot of insurance people don't talk about, is a personal property inventory list. We have brochures on that, and then I kind of focused on kids safety.
Great.
Brochures that they can go through and learn on not to play with matches and different things of that nature.
All right, I understand you live here in Bedford, so this is great that you can come and educate your own public. What are some of the questions, like maybe one big question that people keep asking you when they come up to your booth? What are they looking for? What type of information?
How many fire extinguishers should I have? That's what a lot of people say when they see them, and I say as many as you can afford.
That's a great question, and I'll answer that right here. I would recommend having a fire extinguisher on each level in your house because there are different hazards in each level in your house, and the best type of extinguisher that you can buy if you only have one or two is an ABC type extinguisher.
Yep. That, checking the batteries in their smoke detectors and carbon monoxide. If they're not hardwired, checking the batteries and all of them.
Well, great. It sounds like you're mimicking everything that we're telling the public when we go out and do public safety sessions. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you and hope you enjoyed your time here.
Always enjoy coming down here. Thanks for inviting me.
Get some pizza?
Yes,
pizza?
2.
Great. Thanks
John
again.
wouldn't let me have any more than 2.
All right. Thanks again. Okay, we're here with Brandon and Adam from Puro Clean. This is their first year here at our open house, and basically we asked them to come by and educate the public about their services. So, Brandon, can you basically tell us why you're here today and what you're going to do for the public?
Well, typically we respond to a water, fire, and mold damages because the public may have a difficult time doing that on their own. We provide dry out services as far as industrial dehumidification, some air movement, And we want to prevent mold. We want to thoroughly clean up fires.
Okay, so how are you contacted? I know when we go to fires, we're trying to get the public back in their house as quick as they can and safe, but how are you notified of a fire or flooding damage?
Typically, a homeowner is going to notify their insurance company.
Okay.
And their insurance company is going to steer them towards a mitigation company such as ourselves.
Okay, I got a quick question. Sometimes the damage is not so severe and catastrophic that you need to call a company in there. If I burn something in my kitchen and I can't get the smell out, what would you tell the public the best way to get that smell out other than calling you?
We want to air the house out the best you possibly could, create some negative air, turn some of your window fans directed outdoors. You want to clean the surfaces down, and you want to use some sort of a degreaser. You may want to look into something that's going to kill a protein odor.
Any commercial ones out there that you'd like to tell us, or?
You'd have to look towards, there's stores that are geared towards those chemicals, specialty chemicals.
Okay, well, we appreciate you coming out here. I know you had a lot of people stopping by and hope to see you again next year.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're here with Deputy Chief Mark Close and Lieutenant Johnny Leary, and we're going to spend a couple minutes here to talk about what the firefighters here for the town of Bedford actually do. We'll do that with Mark, and Johnny's going to talk a little bit about what this open house means to us as firefighters and how it started from the beginning and where we're at today. First of all, Mark, I want to thank you. It looks like it's another successful year again. You've been involved with this many years. One of the questions that I get from the general public is somebody here 24 hours a day, and what type of training and certification do firefighters here in the town of Bedford have?
Well, that's a great question by the public. We are here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days. We have we run 4 shifts of 6 firefighters with the day firefighter Monday through Thursday, and we're always here. So we're running both fire and EMS. We run the ambulance. So, it's people, if they have questions, should call us, and don't be afraid to call us any time of the day. And if they need us, call 911.
Okay, we talk numbers a lot here, the amount of calls that we go on a daily basis. The firefighters do work 24 hours. What were some of the total numbers that Bedford Fire Department respond to for emergencies last year?
Well, total calls of service, including inspections, runs us up right around 3,200. And 3,200 calls a year. Yeah. Emergency services calls have been running between 1,800 and 1,850. So that's both fire and EMS.
And what specific sections of the fire department do you supervise?
I have on day-to-day operations, which is both fire and EMS, daily response of the firefighters, and in making sure that the operations goes and works every day. So it's very challenging, making sure that the firefighters are trained. We're dual trained here in Bedford. We run both fire and EMS. We firefighters, EMTs, EMT intermediates, and paramedic level of care.
Okay, we have a lot of vendors out here trying to educate the public, and I think the most important thing that we saw on some of these vendors is 911, early calling, early intervention, and identifying your mailbox. Do you have any stories that you've run into about the mailbox not being able to identify them?
Well, what we've been running into is that the homes are, they're 1,000 feet off the road, and we can't see the numbers at night. So we're asking, the public, if you have a long driveway where, especially at night, and we can't see the house number, that you put 4-inch numbers on both sides of your mailboxes, because we don't know which way we're actually coming into your home. So, if you have them on both sides of the mailboxes, that's going to help us identify your home. And especially at night, if your house is that far off the road, we can't see it. And to make sure that the numbers actually contrast. If you have a black mailbox, make sure you use white numbers. If you're going to put them on a post, if you have a brown post, use a dark colored numbering system versus a gold coloring system.
Okay, that's great information, and you'll see that in our pieces that were there. Just a side note, you may have seen, or you might see, Mark's daughter Katie did an interview with our little buddy there, so that was pretty special to have her.
Thank you, appreciate that.
All right, Johnny, Johnny Leary here. Johnny's a lieutenant paramedic here. He's been on 15 years.
A little bit longer.
A little bit longer. Maybe I missed a few years. I say that because Johnny was in the infant stages of this open house back in 1995, Every year it just seems to get better. What do you think this means to the firefighters when they see the general public out here supporting us?
Well, I think it's, certainly tonight's a testament of the way that the open house has grown over the number of years with the number of vendors that we've been able to get here, as well as the number of people from the community that do come in. So for us, it's great to see people come out. We have a chance to interact with them, kind of talk with them, kind of explain some of the safety things that are important when they're in their own homes, whether they may experience a medical issue or some type of a fire event in their homes, things that are going to help them prior to our arrival there. So I think for us, there's certainly a sense of community, and that we're making a difference, hopefully, in in everybody's daily lives.
Okay, now we talk about the level of service here at the Bedford Fire Department. It can be Monday through Friday, days, nights. Lieutenant Leary here is he's in charge of a shift that's here 24 hours. So he's the first line of defense for you, the general public. Johnny, if there was anything that you would like to tell the public, what's the most important thing that they can do before you show up if there's a catastrophic event or an emergency?
Well, obviously, clearly is making notification to 911 and typically early, and staying on the line so that any additional information can be provided, so that we as responders, whether we're in a fire truck or the ambulance, can make if we need additional resources, additional calls, whether it's mutual aid companies, additional ambulances, whatever it could be. That information is very important prior to our arrival. Obviously, trying to remain calm in an emergency is always an important thing to do. Well, however, obviously an emergency can always raise an individual's adrenaline level, and and make sometimes that a little bit difficult to react to a situation that is occurring to a loved one or a family member or even your own home. So being able to to do that, so that when we do arrive, if we have questions, there are things we're going to need to know. Whether everybody's out of the house, somebody's still in the house, what type of events going on, hazards, those types of things that are going to make our job easier to be able to hopefully take care of the crisis that you're having at that time.
Okay, well, we appreciate the service that you do, and as I know, sometimes we have good days here. Some days we have bad days, but I know it's very rewarding for us as firefighters to be able to help the public, and even fire prevention sessions like this. It's great to see the kids, because we hope their heroes are guys like us instead of some of other type of heroes that are in the world today.
Yep, thank you, and it's great to see everybody here tonight. And hopefully, if you didn't make it tonight, we'll see you next year.
All right, thanks a lot, Johnny. Sure.
All right, Cam Bernard here again. I'm with my dad, Mike Bernard. He is the lieutenant of Bedford. We are at the police table, and why is he here for a fire open house? Well, let's ask him that.
Well, basically we're here because the fire department and the police department work together for all kinds of calls, fire calls, rescue calls, motor vehicle accidents. So it's not only a police department it's not only a fire department open house, it's a police department open house. We have a table here, get the motorcycle here. They're giving police rides in the cruisers. So the fire department has an open house. We're together. We're one big entity.
So, what do you think what this is all about today?
Basically, it's fire prevention knowledge. They teach the kids, if there's a fire, what to do, how to get out of a house, have a meeting place. And it also helps the police department, too. In this way, when we show up at a fire, we know where to look for the people, and we help the fire. We go hand in hand, basically working together.
That's good. Thank you.